If people with superpowers lived among us, society would ruin it in about 11 minutes. Not with giant laser fights, not with a villain floating above the skyline, with paperwork. The first person who could fly probably wouldn't get a cape. They would get a government letter, 3 insurance forms, and a lawyer saying, "Please stop crossing international borders without filing a flight path." Because the second superpowers became real, they would stop being magic. They would become risk. They would become status. They would become money. And suddenly, the most uncomfortable question on Earth would be, what is a normal body worth now? At first, it would look beautiful. A teenager lifts a crashed car with one hand. A woman walks into a burning building and comes out without a scratch. Someone catches a falling construction worker in midair. The videos go viral instantly. Everyone cries. The comments are full of hearts. For about 2 days, humanity acts like it has discovered hope. Then the internet does what the internet does. Someone asks if powered people should be allowed in normal sports. Someone makes a ranking of the most attractive powers. Someone starts a podcast called Are Superhumans Replacing Us? And suddenly, the miracle has HR implications. You see it all from your bed at 2 a.m. One video is a rescue. The next is an argument. The next is an ad for power-safe home insurance. You keep scrolling, because of course you do. And little by little, the world starts feeling less like a miracle and more like a software update nobody agreed to install. Work would change first. Because companies would not look at superpowers and think, wow, the human species has entered a beautiful new era. They would think, can this reduce labor costs? A person with super strength is not just strong. They are 5 warehouse workers with 1 lunch break. A person with perfect memory is not just gifted. They are an entire legal department with hair. A person who can heal injuries would become the most overbooked employee in medical history. And everyone without powers would be sitting in interviews trying to explain why their normal human body still deserves dental. You apply for a basic job. You have experience. You are reliable. You even made your resume look clean. Then another applicant walks in, smiles politely, and floats the chair back under the table without touching it. The interviewer smiles a little too fast. And you already know. You did not lose to a better candidate. You lost to a better physics engine. School would become worse. Because children are already professional comparison machines. Now imagine a classroom where one kid can run across the playground in 2 seconds. One kid can hear lies, and one kid accidentally melts pencils when stressed. The school says, everyone is equal here. Then they build a reinforced gym, a separate training room, a special counselor for ability-related emotional disruption. Parents pretend to be calm, but they whisper in parking lots. Is my child safe? Is my child behind? Should we move to a district with better power programs? And the kids without powers learn a new insecurity. Not being bad at math. Not being picked last. Being standard edition. Dating would become completely unhinged. Right now, people already filter each other by height, job, face, vibe, attachment style, and whether they say, I'm just brutally honest, which usually means they are about to ruin your evening. Now add powers. Dating bios would be insane. Minor telekinesis. Can teleport, but emotionally unavailable. Empath, but only when convenient. Someone would say they don't care about powers. Then somehow every person they date can fly. Some powers would become attractive. Some would become terrifying. Some would become weirdly fetishized by people who should honestly delete the app and drink water. And normal people would feel it. That quiet thought, am I still interesting in a world where someone else is literally impossible? But crime is where the fantasy fully dies. Because crime would not just become more dramatic. It would become harder to understand. How do you prove someone read your mind? How do you report an invisible person breaking into your apartment? What counts as assault if someone used fear, gravity, heat, or your own emotions against you? Police reports would start sounding like rejected science fiction. Suspect was not visible at the time. Victim believes memory was altered. Door opened by itself. Witnesses disagree because one witness may have been hypnotized. And the police would be scared too. A normal officer cannot just walk up to someone who might be bulletproof, magnetic, or able to disappear when stressed. So society would build new systems. Special units, special prisons, power-dampening rooms, public safety scanners, emergency alerts that are somehow both vague and terrifying. Possible abnormal event nearby. Thank you, very calming. The worst part is, people would start changing their lives before anything even happened to them. They would stop taking certain streets. They would check if buildings had reinforced glass. They would wonder if the person behind them in line could hear their thoughts. Fear would become part of the architecture. And of course, rich people would adapt first. They always do. Luxury apartments would advertise reinforced walls, private detection systems, safe rooms, and certified powered security. Influencers would give apartment tours like, "This is my kitchen, this is my meditation corner, and this is the room where I hide if someone phases through the wall." Meanwhile, normal people would get a free safety app that crashes during emergencies and asks for location permissions. Insurance would become a nightmare. If your power is fire-related, good luck renting. If your child can teleport, your school fees go up. If you have no powers, maybe you pay less for property damage, but more for personal protection. Every body becomes a policy. Every ability becomes a liability. Every human being becomes a risk profile with a face. And then the government arrives. At first, registration is only for safety. Just a database, just basic information, just voluntary. Then a powered person commits a crime. Then another one saves a city bus. Then someone with mind control is accused of influencing an election. And suddenly, voluntary starts wearing a uniform. People with powers get tested, ranked, licensed, tracked. People without powers demand protection. People with powers demand privacy. And everyone is kind of right. That is the uncomfortable part. There is no clean good side. Because yes, if someone can destroy a building by losing control, maybe society needs rules. But if someone is born that way, how many rules can you put around their body before protection becomes a cage? And that is the twist. At first, normal people would think powered people won the genetic lottery. And some would. Some would become rich, famous, untouchable. Their faces would be everywhere. Magazine covers, campaign posters, energy drinks, crime warnings, motivational edits with dramatic music they definitely did not approve. But they would not be free. They would never be just people. A powered teenager having a panic attack would not be treated like a teenager having a panic attack. They would be treated like an incident. A powered adult making one mistake would not just apologize. They would become a national debate. A child who can hear thoughts might not feel special. They might feel crowded forever. So in this world, everyone loses something. Normal people lose the comfort of feeling equal. Powered people lose the comfort of being ordinary. And society loses the ability to look at a person without immediately calculating what their body can do. You come home late. The city outside is still glowing. Somewhere, a helicopter moves slowly between buildings. Your phone keeps showing clips, a rescue, an arrest, a celebrity interview, a leaked registration list, a dating post, a debate where everyone is yelling about safety, freedom, privilege, oppression, danger, fairness. Everyone online is arguing about who is dangerous, who is lucky, who is being controlled, who is lying, who is using their power wrong. You turn the phone face down. For a second, the room is quiet. And maybe that is when the real fear appears. Not that someone out there can fly, not that someone can break walls, read minds, disappear, or bend metal with one hand, but that, in a world like this, no one would simply have a body anymore. A body would be a resume, a weapon, a brand, a threat, a product, a reason to be wanted, a reason to be watched. And maybe the rarest superpower would not be flying. Maybe it would be walking into a room and feeling like you are still enough.